In this video, I'm going to be discussing jobs for people with autism and 4 of the best ideas that I've come up with, all that coming up. Hey guys, welcome back to the Aspie world. My name is Dan, I have autism, ADHD, OCD and dyslexia, and I make weekly videos on this type of content. So if you're new around here and you'd like to learn more, remember to go down below and hit the subscribe button by clicking that notification bell. And if you're watching over on Facebook, be sure to give this page a like and a follow to see more videos just like this one and not miss a thing. Okay guys, so in this video, I am going to be listing out 4 of the most interesting and best capable ideas for a job that I think suit people on the autism spectrum, because let's face it, jobs for people with autism is a scarcity. Cool, welcome back guys. If you haven't already, make sure to go and get me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok and Facebook, because I make videos on all those platforms too, and I upload a blog and a podcast, so all the links are in the description below or on the screen here somewhere. So make sure you do that, be a part of that Thinking Differently fam, because we think differently, we are awesome and you are amazing, so that is pretty awesome. So I have been around the block in terms of trying to find a job, and I'm just gonna start this video off by talking about autism and jobs, and I'm gonna move into like 4 of the best ones that I think that would accommodate people on the autism spectrum. Now, here's a story. So my friend, who is also on the autism spectrum, her name is Anna Moomin, and she has a YouTube channel, and we did a couple of videos together. I'll leave a link for one of the videos that me and Anna did up here and in the pinned comment down below and on the end screen, so that you guys can watch that video. It's all about autism in females and stuff like that. But me and Anna were talking about employment. Now Anna's a YouTuber, and I'm sure she's spoken about this on her channel before. But one of the things that I discussed with her when I was just having a general chat when she was here in the office was that she tried out for 5 different jobs, and each one of those jobs gave her the position, but when they found out she was on the autism spectrum, then said that the position had dissolved. So they kind of took the opportunity away from her because of her disability. When in actual fact, you know, autism in the workplace can actually be seen as something that is an ability higher than other people, which could help accommodate a job specifically better than other people, which is exactly why I'm doing this video, because I want to talk to you about that. So that was kind of like an interesting story from my friend Anna, and you should definitely reach out to Anna. She's super awesome and very responsive, and she has a great channel, so I highly recommend checking it out. I will leave a link for Anna's YouTube channel in the description below. So there is a staggering statistic that says that 80% of all people on the autism spectrum do not have full-time employment and do not have employment in general. So that is a large figure. Now that's the same all across Europe and the United States. So it's a large portion. Pretty much almost all the people on the autism spectrum don't have jobs. There's this tiny, tiny amount of people who do. Now I can feel and understand that, just like you can. I mean, if you can totally relate to the fact that it's difficult to get a job and you're on the autism spectrum, please give this video a thumbs up, just so I know that you're there and reaching out to you, and you know, you are connecting. We're like family, because we're that Thinking Differently fam, yo. So I have had difficulties finding a job all my life. So I tried out being an ice cream man in an ice cream van, and that didn't work because, like, when I was in the ice cream van, I had to deal with people and it was too overwhelming, so I quit like the same day I actually started. I was a paper boy for a little bit, because everybody's a paper boy when they're a teenager, and that was kind of cool, although slightly confusing to deal with the people in the store and payment and stuff. I just actually liked going through the list. I memorized everywhere that I need to do on my route, and I just did it, you know, the second time I did it, I just knew everywhere I was going, and I just did the papers. And I liked that because it was like 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning. It was just me and nobody else, and that was kind of cool. So then I moved on to things like I worked in it was a hardware store warehouse at night. At 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd start work at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd finish at 8 o'clock in the morning, and that was kind of a cool job. I actually met one of my really good friends doing that job, but it was cool because there was only like 2 or 3 people on the team. It was me and 2 other people, and we just had sections of the store to work at, but it was like bizarre hours, and also sometimes I'd ask you to stay on, and when I stayed on till like midday, then people would come into the store and ask me where things are, and kind of like, it was really difficult for me to communicate with the people who were coming in from, you know, from the general public. So I didn't like that as much, but that's, you know, that's how things go. So I ended up leaving that job, and I got a job as an IT technician fixing computers in America and Australia remotely from an office, and that was difficult. It was okay when they put me on night. I was working 11 o'clock at night till 7 o'clock in the morning on my own in this huge office just at night time, just me, and then security guard would come up every now and then and see if I was okay, but just me, and I'd bring dinner with me, and I'd have a dinner break, and you know, I just work fixing computers remotely, and that was actually a really cool job. Unfortunately, they then put me onto working the phone during the day and answering calls from engineers in the UK, and that just kind of didn't work for me. So then I moved on to another job I was working for McKesson Healthcare Company doing data desktop assistance for BSR processing, which is like a staff record here for the NHS. Now, that was a cool job. The biggest issue was the environment was unaccommodating for me, and it was so overwhelming. It set me into a spiral of depression. I was putting on antidepressants for a while, and I had to go and see people because of my depression, and that was kind of a bummer because I liked working with numbers, but I didn't like the environment, and I couldn't work in that environment. So let me tell you, I've been around the block, and then I eventually got a job with an IT company, and I was doing stuff, and I had an issue there. I had a huge meltdown because they started changing the office around, and it's a long story. So I've tried everything under the sun to try and get myself into a mood where I could talk about having a job that would be a good job for me. But the best job I ever had was starting creating videos and doing stuff on YouTube like I'm doing right now with you guys, and that was pretty amazing. So if you guys can relate to the difficulties in those areas, I'd like to know. So pop in a comment down below if you can relate to having difficulties in those areas, dealing with people and being in environments that are unaccommodating. So here are my 4 best job ideas, I guess, I can come up with since doing my experience of the working environment, the best ones I could come up with for you guys. So number 1 is computing and IT. Just like I said, fixing computers in Australia and working around IT in general is really cool because a lot of people on the autism spectrum are technically minded. They want to use computers and tablets, and they have a better way of thinking about things outside of the box than the neurotypical people that we share our entire universe with. And that's a really interesting concept because I feel like we all gravitate towards technology. A lot of people on the spectrum do, and that's a good thing. And I think that we could find really interesting, good jobs in IT that would accommodate us, but you have to be careful. You have to make sure that maybe remote work, working from home on a laptop would probably be a better idea, or a quieter office where it's not so many people in there, kind of like how I was, and stuff that's not going to change rapidly, you know, because that was the issue I had in the last job that I worked in an office. So you just have to be on it and try to make sure that the environment isn't going to be bad for your mental health or your conditions. So that is the first one. Okay, so number 2 is super exciting. This one is gaming. Now you think like, Dan, what are you talking about? How can somebody typically game for a living? Well, it's absolutely true. A friend of mine, actually a few friends of mine, game for a living. So there's a guy I know called Sean who is Jacksepticeye on YouTube, and he actually makes a living from playing games on YouTube, and he's a cool guy and he makes a lot of money doing that. And so, you know, at one extreme end of the spectrum, you could literally start a gaming channel or start a gaming reviewing blog, or do something to do with gaming. Like, you know, you could test games. You could get, you know, another one of my friends actually tests games where they send him games and they pay him to play the game and give feedback and review these games, right? Which is a super cool job. I think that's pretty amazing if you ask me. And that's a really cool job to have. Another idea for gaming is that if you're really into gaming, like a lot of people on the autism spectrum are, then maybe you could have some input consulting for gaming industries to tell them what is good about certain games and what is bad about certain games to help them create a better market value for their product. Now, there are obviously, you know, there's a competitive market, but the edge you have is that you are on the autism spectrum, and that is a pretty cool edge. And I'm telling you now that employers will look at that in certain markets, in certain environments, and think like this could be an advantage. So don't ever sell yourself short. There is a possibility you could be doing something with games, even coding and creating or designing games, because hey, let's think about it, you know, people on the autism spectrum are very creative. Okay, number 3 is self-employment. And I know it's kind of like a cheesy one, but let me tell you, the best job I ever had is the job I'm doing right now. I run my own social media business, and I do videos on here like right now, and you know, I do educational content. We also run courses, and you know, we do educational content courses, we do consultancy for social media marketing, I make video content for the BBC. Like there's a bunch of different things that I do here with what I do, and it's the best job I've ever had because I'm completely in control of the environment, I'm in control of the workflow, I know how to space things out. Now, people on the autism spectrum are very, very creative, and so creative that I know that you could invent your perfect job. And you know, I actually have a course which is basically how to turn your obsessive interest into a career, and I did a course on that. Now if you're interested in checking that out, I will leave a link for that down in the description below so you guys can actually check out that course. It's a very, very cool one, and I absolutely think you will love that course. But in terms of being self-employed, I think that most autistic people have the capacity and the ability to be creative, create a product or a service or a website or a blog or something, or make videos, do what I'm doing right now, and put that out there and actually get paid for doing it. Because at the end of the day, if you're good at something and you become a master at it, people will pay you to do that, and that is fact. Okay, so number 4 is problem solving or a tester. Now, many companies, now including Microsoft, now Microsoft in general, actually Microsoft have a program that is designed to hire autistic people because of their abilities and how cool they are at thinking and the way their mind works. So they have a program specifically for employing autistic people for user testing and problem solving and testing software in general. Now, this is a cool job. I actually did software testing in one of the last companies that I worked for, and it was a really cool job because people on the autism spectrum have a really good attention to detail, which means that they can find faults in certain things that people wouldn't really notice because they're not thinking outside the box as a neurodivergent person would, like someone on the autism spectrum. So my advice to you would be go and look for jobs where you'd be software testing or problem solving for companies, because I know you do a fantastic job at that. You know, problem solving and spotting the difference and looking at things from a different perspective, because we're different thinkers, is the best way to use your ability to project that into a career, and that'd be super awesome. Right guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to share it with somebody to give them value on Facebook and Twitter and all those other cool places. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time guys. Peace.